It's a New Day, The Skull Snaps, 1973. One of the most sampled drum breaks in the history of hip-hop sampling. But who was the drummer? Well, the assumption would be that it was the drummer for the Skull Snaps. But let's dig a little deeper. In 1973, the band Wood, Brass, and Steel released a single titled Hey, What's That You Say on Sylvia and Joe Robinson's Astroscope Records, a division of their all-platinum label. Now, somewhere in this same time, the band Wood, Brass, and Steel, which became Sylvia and Joe Robinson's house band for their all-platinum Stang, Turbo, and various labels, played on a version of Hey, What's That You Say for the group Brother to Brother from their debut album, In the Bottle. Now, it's very important that I interject here that the lineup for Wood, Brass, and Steel at this time was drummer Harold Sargent, Skip Alexander, Herman Tootie White, Otha Stokes, Dalbert Taylor, and vocalist Lee Williams. Hey, What's That You Say was written by Harold Sargent's fiancée at the time, Inefi Woods, and she is credited as writer on all versions. Now, a quick background on Harold Sargent. Harold Sargent is an Ohio musician, a drummer, who told me that he gave Bootsy Collins his first ever bass guitar. The first group that Harold Sargent ever played with was called the Pacemakers, and the members were Bootsy Collins, his brother Catfish Phelps, Felipe Wynn, later of the Detroit Spinners, and Robert Chopper McCullough, later of Parliament Funkadelic. Now, this time period of 1973 or so was a very busy time for the song, Hey, What's That You Say? In this year of 1973, producer, songwriter, vocalist, and arranger George Kerr, who was also a part of the all-platinum family and basically label mates with Wood, Brass, and Steel, produced the debut album by a group called the Skull Snaps on GSF Records. Now, members of Wood, Brass, and Steel played on 4 songs on this LP. The 4 songs were My Hang Up Is You, I'm Your Pimp, Trespassing, and It's a New Day. Now, the musicians who were present in the studio for those sessions that day, again, Harold Sargent on drums, Bernard Skip Alexander on guitar, Herman Tootie White on bass, Reggie Lewis on guitar, and Bert Keys on piano and music directing. It's a New Day was actually Hey, What's That You Say, with just a different variation on the title. In fact, on the hook of Hey, What's That You Say, it goes, Hey, what's that you say? It's a new day, and a better day is coming. So It's a New Day, again, was just taking a piece of the hook and changing the title from Hey, What's That You Say to It's a New Day, which is already a part of the song. Again, this song was written by Inefi Woods, who was the fiancée of the drummer Harold Sargent, who is today the wife of Harold Sargent. So, as they're in the studio recording, the first song they went to record was It's a New Day. Now, as Harold Sargent is trying to play the drum pattern that George Kerr is telling him that he wants played for the song, Harold Sargent's having an issue with the drum pattern. He's not able to play it as easily as he wants to. George Kerr is starting to get frustrated, and he makes a suggestion, well, maybe we should get Bernard Purdy to play it. I know he can play it. Well, that suggestion puts a battery in Harold Sargent's back, and after a couple more takes, he nails it. Now, before I go any further into the grave importance of that iconic drum intro, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the accomplishments of Harold Sargent as a drummer, because as a producer and drummer, his name is not a household one, but he has been a part of many projects, directly and indirectly, that are iconic, and his name should be more of a household name.
Everybody dance with the dance freak. Everybody dance with the dance freak. Everybody dance. Everybody's moving to the ladies' sound. We got a funky feeling, freak is what's going down. I just wanna dance with you, y'all. I just wanna freak with you, yeah. I just wanna dance with you. You say you're one for the trouble, two for the time. Come on, y'all, let's rock the. Yes, y'all. A freak, y'all. A funky beat, y'all. And then you rock and roll, and then you roll and rock, and then you rock to the beat. They just don't want you to stop, cause I'm the S to the B, double O and Y. The one MC who you can't deny. Cause I'm the baby maker, I'm the woman taker, I'm the cold crushing lover, the heartbreaker. So come on, fly girls, and please don't stop, cause I'm MC Spoonie G1 and hit the top of young ladies. I rock on. Say I was driving down the street on a stormy night to say up ahead there was a terrible fight. There was a big fine lady, she was crossing the street.
So yes, indeed, the man, he spans, we talking about a cat. Remember, I said he started out with Catfish, Bootsy, Felipe Wynn, and cats that, actually were part of the Funkadelic machine. Robert McCullough, before any of them even got into the big bands that would define them. Before Bootsy and his brother got with James, before they got with George, before the Detroit Spinners, all this up through disco, up into the first rap records in '79. And by the time that Sylvia and Joe Robinson got into rap records with Sugar Hill Records, Harold Sargent was making his exit from that organization. So very interesting for a cat that was making his exit at the beginning of rap records, a record that he played drums on in 1973 is still providing a sound bed today for us, and it did all throughout 90s hip-hop. The drum intro from It's a New Day, the first person that we know of with a record deal that used those drums was STEZO on It's My Turn.
Read all about it. It's me, STEZO, that has been doubted. I came to make you move and groove and get down. There's no way that the crowd can sit down.
I'm back in effect. Yes, I'm Eric Sermon with a brand new cassette. Yes, I'm spoiled, rich like topsoil. Still loyal, still the MC Grand Royal. I'm still dope, I'm still no joke, I don't care. I'm still wild like Tone Loc. I'm swift, aka a black stallion. Fat herringbone with no medallion. Hello, I still got the same funk flowing, yo. I still get busy like Arsenio. When I rock, I need all the girls with me, so I can be their baby tonight like Whitney.
Put up, what up, whoa. Suckers wanna flow, but they got no show. So I'ma grab the mic, flip a script, believe the stun. Buckshot's the one that gets the job done. Mic check, I get paid to wreck the set. Get ready and check, cause I'm a threat to your fret. No host bar, incomplete move fakers. Best to wait the back and watch a girl, I might take her. If she's a grab, I'ma diss her then slide. If she try to rip, I got my Smith on my side. Word to God, here I comes to make way. Rugged and rough, killing your set every day. Microphone check, 1, 2, here we go.
With It's a New Day being sampled well over 500 times, there are many more examples, including Rob Dugan's Club to Death from the major blockbuster hit, The Matrix. When you consider the fact that Hey What's That You Say was sampled by Jay-Z for Friend or Foe from his classic debut album Reasonable Doubt, Jill Scott's Family Reunion sampled The Escorts' Look Over Your Shoulder, as many artists have sampled The Escorts' Look Over Your Shoulder, which Wood, Brass, and Steel also played on, including Harold Sargent. You start to see that what I've presented here is just a drop in the bucket as far as the contributions to modern music that this group made more than 4 decades ago. And there's so much more to the story. And this is Jayquan. If you want to reach me, you can email me at jayquanmusicva@gmail.com. And I'm on all social media at JAYQUANVA. Peace.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was. Look again.